All right, Major, there with Carly Fiorina. Major, I know we're going to talk to you a little bit later, I believe. A lot of developments on the Republican side, including what we know, late breaking here, Dr. Ben Carson apparently planning to endorse Donald Trump tomorrow. What do we know about that, Major?
We know that it's going to happen tomorrow at a press conference at the Mar-a-Lago club that Trump has. Ben Carson, we are told, will appear with Donald Trump. He sort of let people know that was possible earlier today in a radio interview with John Gibson, where he said he was leaning toward endorsing Donald Trump, thought he was a thinking person, and said that to his mind there are really two Donald Trumps, the one that you see in public and the one that he has met and dealt with privately, which he says is a fundamentally different person, much more thoughtful, and a much more capable leader. We'll see if Ben Carson wants to amplify that message tomorrow, standing next to
Major,
Donald Trump.
Pardon me, Major. Let's go ahead and play that. We do have a clip of that radio interview that you just mentioned.
You know, there are two Donald Trumps. There's the Donald Trump that you see on television and who gets out in front of big audiences. And there's the Donald Trump behind the scenes. They're not the same person. One is very much an entertainer, and one is actually a thinking individual.
That's from your personal experience with him backstage?
That's from my personal experience.
Well, okay, describe that one.
That one is someone who you can reason with very easily, and who is actually very comfortable talking about issues and recognizing that he doesn't have all the answers. It's a very different one. I mean, it's night and day difference.
That was Dr. Carson, that clip that you mentioned with John Gibson of Fox News Radio. Apologies, Major, so I just wanted to play that for our viewers.
Okay, sure.
So, yes, so now continue with what you were saying. This is the thinking behind Dr. Carson's decision to endorse Donald Trump.
Yeah, and it's a rapid evolution. Last Friday at CPAC in Washington, he said he was going to endorse We the People. And I talked to most of his closest advisors, those who remained within his presidential campaign, and they were suggesting to me he was in no rush at all to jump into this race or endorse anyone. So there's been quite clearly an evolution in thinking. Maybe Ben Carson took a look at the results from Tuesday, concluded that Donald Trump was most likely the Republican nominee and wanted to offer his support. How much effect it will have? Perhaps some here in Florida, possibly if it does in Florida, it would be in the Florida Panhandle, where there tend to be a higher concentration of white evangelical, social conservative voters. And it would add to Donald Trump's argument that he's better than Ted Cruz because Ted Cruz plays very aggressive, very tough hardball politics, something Ben Carson remembers well and not favorably from his experience in Iowa. I can go back through all that if the audience wants it, or you want to, Elaine, but I think most people know what I'm talking about. So that also deprives two other people of an endorsement, Marco Rubio and John Kasich. So more and more, as we see endorsements coming in, Mike Lee, the first Republican in the United States Senate from Utah today, coming here to the spin room to endorse Ted Cruz. Carly Fiorina yesterday for Ted Cruz. Ben Carson now for Donald Trump. In the endorsement world, you're seeing this really come down to a two-person race, Trump and Cruz.